So today we're going to go through setting up DMARC for your domain if you're using Google Workspace. It's actually pretty straightforward, but there are still a couple of things that trip people up, so we'll make sure we'll cover those. Before you touch DMARC, you need a SPF and DKIM to be working and set up, as DMARC depends on them. So if you haven't sorted those out yet, I'll link some videos in the description to help you set those things up. But for DKIM on Google Workspace, here's the quick version of what you need to do before we move on. Go into your Google admin console, and from there, go to Apps, then Google Workspace, then Gmail, and then Authenticate Email. Select your domain and click Generate New Record. You want to choose the 2048-bit key. It's the more secure option, and there's kind of no reason not to use it. Google will then give you a text record to add to your DNS, add it, and then go back to your admin console and click Start Authentication. Google's going to check that that DNS record is there, and then once it's there, it'll turn on DKIM signing. This can take a little while to propagate, but it's usually pretty quick. So for the DMARC record itself, unlike some things in Google, you don't set this up inside your admin console. You do it actually in your DNS settings. So go back to your domain provider or DNS provider and add a new text record and use the following format, just up on the screen here. So that's monitoring mode, where your emails will still go through normally, but you start receiving reports about what's passing and what isn't. Now those reports, they're gonna arrive as raw XML that looks something like this, and they're not exactly light reading. So once your domain is sending any kind of decent volume, you'll be getting hundreds of these reports from Gmail, Outlook, and all the other inbox providers, and each one's a separate file, and it's pretty spammy. So that's where a DMARC monitoring product like Suped takes all of that in and turns it into something that you can actually use. You just connect your reporting address to Suped, and then in the dashboard, you'll be able to see all the different email services sending on behalf of your domain, whether they're DMARC compliant, whether they're set up for SPF and DKIM, and whether they're fully authenticated or not. And if anything unexpected is showing up on your domain, like, spoofers or forwards, that one will also show up on it as well. And you'll be able to set up alerts rather than finding out weeks later, when your delivery has already taken a hit, or whether people have started spoofing on your domain for a bunch of time or not as well. The whole point of starting at p=none is to collect this data before you enforce anything. Once you can see in the dashboard that all your legitimate senders are passing, everything is showing green, that's when you'll want to move to p=quarantine. And that just means that failing emails will then go to spam instead of the inbox. Then when your compliance rate is consistently high, you can move to p=reject, and you've got full enforcement. This means that nothing unauthorized will get through, and emails will just get undelivered in that case. There's one thing specific to Google Workspace worth knowing here, and that is if you use alias domains, where emails from a secondary domain actually send through your primary Google account, SPF alignment will fail for those alias addresses. That's not going to be a misconfiguration, that's just how Google handles the routing. And the fix is to just make sure that DKIM is set up correctly for each subdomain and domain, because that's what DMARC will use to pass alignment in that scenario. I'll just drop a guide in the description as well, specifically about that if you do have that situation. For forwarding, however, if any of your addresses forward emails to another inbox, just keep in mind that that can cause SPF failures, because the forwarding server's IP won't be in your original SPF record. Again, that's where having DKIM alignment fully set up is what's going to save you there and allow DMARC to pass. So once you've got all this set up, really you want to let that DMARC monitoring run for a few weeks. The reports will tell you who's sending email on behalf of your domain. Once you've confirmed everything legitimate is passing your Workspace accounts, any third-party tools as well, you can move towards p=quarantine and then p=reject. If you want to just quickly check your DMARC setup, whether your record is set up properly or not, we've got a free tool for that at Suped. I'll just chuck a link in the description below. Hope this was useful. If it was, smash that subscribe button, chuck us a like, and we'll see you in the next video as well.